Hello everyone, myself Kana Rohit Reddy. Now I'm going to explain about the firewall in the digital ocean. So basically, what is a firewall? A firewall is an essential security layer for your digital ocean droplets and applications. It can be either for digital ocean or any cloud thing or any website, anything. This firewall, what's the main basic principle of firewall is that it provides security to your product. It can be either website, app, or any cloud or any server. It provides security. So, like it acts as a gatekeeper, controlling incoming and outgoing network traffic based on the predefined rules. These predefined rules are set by us. So, it acts as a gatekeeper for the incoming and the outgoing network. So, now let's understand the importance of the firewall protection. So what it does is that it helps us to prevent the unauthorized access. For example, like firewall rules, what they does is that they block malicious attempts to access your servers and applications so that the server and the applications will be secure. And then it also helps in preventing unauthorized access and data breaches. For example, malicious people like hackers can access your data, hack the system and access the data. These can be prevented by the use of the firewall. And then it also helps protection against DDoS attacks. DDoS attacks refers to distributed denial of service. So what firewall does is that it filter out all the malicious traffic as such as distributed denial of service attacks, and then it ensures the availability of your services and then enforce security policies. So what firewall does is that it enforces various security policies on the cloud application or any website, so that only authorized traffic can access your server and application. So the traffic will be less and the load on the website will be less, and thus the productivity or the response of the website is more. So next, coming to firewall basic rules and policies. So there are various rules, and the main important rules that have to be set in the digital ocean application are the inbound rules. These inbound rules define what traffic is allowed to enter your servers and application from the outside. So, like you have to set the rules for what traffic to allow to access your application. For example, if you set like I have to allow only HTTP or HTTPS request, then you are going to set the inbound rules as HTTP or HTTPS with the necessary port range and the unnecessary portion and the type of the request. This will be shown in the next video of the DigitalOcean practical implementation. There, when you set these rules, then the server or application is only going to the firewall. What the firewall is going only to allow the requests that come from these type like HTTP and HTTPS, so that only those requests will be allowed, and thus the load on the website or the application will be less. And coming to outbound rules, like outbound rules define which traffic is allowed to leave your servers and applications and connect to external services. So we have to make sure while defining the outbound rules, like if you give access to like every request, like you are going to access every type of website, then there will be some malicious websites also. You have to take care of that, that you are going to access only some websites that are secure. So firewall helps in enabling that. And then the firewall policies. These firewall policies define a set of rules that determine how traffic is filtered and processed. It depends on various factors like whether it's secure or not, and all those things. And now I'm going to show how to set a firewall in DigitalOcean. Now I'm going to discuss about it. So first we're going to create a firewall. Like we can create a firewall in the DigitalOcean control panel, and there are pre-configured templates so that we can select those pre-configured templates, or we can customize our rules based on our need. And then the second step is assigning firewall to droplet. So what we will do here is that we will assign that firewall to a specific droplet or instance. We can assign same firewall to multiple instances or droplets. So when we assign this firewall to the droplet, then the firewall will be effective and the firewall will protect the droplet. Both the inbound rules and outbound rules are specified. And then configure firewall rules. Here we will specify what we have to allow, like what we have to allow, what we have to block, what we have to what we have to allow. All these things will be set in the firewall rules. And we can also select here specific ports, protocols, and IP addresses. Ports like you can select the port range of 80, which shows HTTPS request, and then you can select protocols like TDP or TCP or UDP. So UDP like user datagram protocol, and TCP like transmission commission protocol. So that if you connect to another machine only on this communication protocol, then only you are going to either allow or reject the request. And then IP addresses. So with these IP addresses, you can decide from which IP addresses you have to allow the access to your application or server. These all can be done through the firewall. And then configuring these inbound and outbound rules of a firewall. So what we are going to do is that for the inbound rules, we are going to allow SSH access from your IP address to manage your droplet securely. So SSH gives that it is secure, and then we are going to connect it to the application. And then we are going to block inbound HTTP traffic. We are going to configure the rules such like, so block incoming HTTP traffic if your application doesn't require it, preventing unauthorized access. So that we are not going to allow any other person, any external person, third party person to access our website in case if we don't need it. In case if we need it, then we are going to allow it. And then allowing outbound traffic. So for allowing outbound traffic to specific IP addresses or domains that our application relies on, so that the only the necessary functions that are only the necessary websites or servers that are needed by our application, for that only outbound traffic is allowed on. And then monitoring and logging firewall activities. So monitoring provides real-time insights into firewall activity, allowing us to identify potential issues or security threats. So and then logging. So the major function of the logging does what it does is that it's gonna log all the firewall activity, including like blocked connections and allowed traffic, and for how much time it has been allowed, and what's the frequency of the request. All that is going to be logged in the firewall screen, and this can be used for auditing or troubleshooting. And then alerts. So, and then some alerts can be set in the firewall so that if any unusual activity or suspicious activity is detected, then the firewall gonna notify us. And if any potential security breach is also done, then also firewall gonna notify us. And then coming to best practices for firewall, here you can see the top 10 best practices in the left side, the famous 10 best practices that are followed. And then first one is to use strong passwords. We have to use strong passwords in order to secure the firewall configuration, and it have to be unique and it shouldn't be common, so that we can prevent unauthorized access. And then regularly update firewall. What we are going to do is that we have to update the firewall software regularly so that it is up to date with the latest security patches and updates. And then coming to implementing principle of least privilege. So what this shows is that like we are going to restrict access to servers and applications to only authorized users and services. And then monitoring firewall activity, like regularly monitoring firewall for unusual activity and investigate any suspicious connections. It has to be done on time to time so that there won't be any security breaches. And then we can integrate firewall with other DigitalOcean services. Load balancing. So here integrating firewall with DigitalOcean load balancer to distribute traffic across multiple instances. And then DigitalOcean security. We are going to we can combine with firewall with other security services offered by DigitalOcean, like security groups and IPs. And then monitoring and logging. What it shows is that we can integrate firewall with monitoring and logging tools to gain visibility into security events. This helps in preventing security breaches and all those things. So troubleshooting common firewall issues. Like if you are unable to access our server or application, we have to check your firewall rules. If they aren't configured correctly, then even we can't access the application. So we have to make sure that we have configured the rules perfectly. And then block traffic. So while troubleshooting refers to the process that is done in order to solve the problem. So if you aren't allowed to access your application, then you have to see firewall logs to identify which rules are blocking traffic. So assume that if you are using an IPv4 type of request and then you are not able to access your application, then you have to check the firewall log and then you have to verify whether it is rejecting all the IPv4 requests or not. If it is rejecting all IPv4 requests, then what you are going to do is that you are going to change the configure rules in such a way that it allows the IPv4 requests from a specific IP address or generally all type of IPv4 requests. It depends on the user need. So the main function of the firewall is that if it is well configured, then it helps in protecting the DigitalOcean infrastructure. Like, and then we have to regularly review and update our firewall rules to ensure optimal security. And then we can implement advanced security measures to further strengthen our defenses. So thus firewall helps in preventing unauthorized access from malicious or suspicious users. Thus firewalls plays a major role in this current era. Thank you.